Saudi Scout Association for inviting me to share you some knowledge and experience about this important topic. And I'd like to welcome everyone from you for attending this training course, or maybe tiny training course. So it's about, as you know, effective communication skills. Maybe we'll take about around 90 minutes, something like that. And I try to make it easy as possible, because, you know, it's presentation or maybe lecture is boring. So I'd like to use some activities and some funny games and exercise to convey the message clearly and in funny way as well. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, my brother Abdulaziz, for introduce myself, and thank you so much, Professor Hamad, for prepare everything. Okay, so الشرائح واضحة أبو أنس ماشية؟
واضحة دكتور, you can proceed.
Okay, so maybe the normal question, why are the communication skills so important in our lives? It's a question, but sometimes actually we need to think deeply to answer the question. So let's make some funny activities to discover why the communication skills is very important in our life, in our job, with family, with friend, whatever. Okay, so let me ask you about this quiz. What do you see? Have a look. Couple of seconds. If possible to hear with you, that would be perfect. By the way, this is iMessage. This is iMessage in my head. I'd like to convey this message to you. So that's why we're asking why the communication skills are important. So is this message in my head? Got it? Okay. That'd be great to share us.
It could be part of the of a wall.
Okay. Yep. Excellent. That's a good guess. Another guess?
It looks like a river going to the sea.
Perfect. Good try. So anyway.
Looks like a cup, a glass with a hand.
Cup, mug. Yes. That's good. So thank you so much for early participation. This is actually a good example for what we call misunderstanding. This is a message in my head. I'd like to convey this message for you. I'd like to explain to you that I saw today a cat behind the wall and only its tail has appeared. Is it acceptable or not? This is anyway my thoughts, my idea in my head. So sometimes actually has or happen what we call misunderstanding. Okay, so let's move to another quiz. What do you think about this one?
It's good to see you again, Dr. Yusuf. It looks like a brick wall.
Good guess, Mike. How are you, Mike, by the way? How's everything
I'm
going?
great. I'm doing well. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you so much for attending this super program. I appreciate that. Anyway, it's good guess. Thank you, Mike. Another guess? Okay. This is a picture for train cabins. from above or bosses from the above. So sometimes our ideas can't actually be received by receivers. So, okay, another one, or maybe the final one. What do you see? Be careful. What do you think, guys?
Doctor, some participations are coming as text in the chat.
Excellent. Good guess. Maybe you can find figure 23.
Yep.
Maybe. Okay. Actually, it's a tricky one. It's not 23. It's just shape, but the 3, it's not existed. It's just we imagine it existed. It's a sort of an important law in psychology. It's called the law of closure. The law of closure. The law of closure means that our brain cannot deal with missing information. So when our brain receives missing information, our brain tries to complete, but sometimes the complete is dangerous. So this is just shape, and our brain try to complete the missing, part, and we imagine it's 23. So all these puzzle actually are an example for misunderstanding, and answer the question why do the communication skills are important. By the way, in 2002 in America, actually there is a team consists of educators, I think industry, so something like that, and decision makers come together and ask the follow question: what are the main skills that our kids need in the future? And they try to solve this question, and they make what we call a frame to an important actually concept. It's called 21st century skills. 21st century skills. And they said, in the future, our kids need all these skills. Actually, there are four main skills. All, or each single skill starts with C. So they call this model 4 C's. 4 C's. So 4 C's skills is a model for first one century skills. By the way, can you guess what are these skills? All single scale start with C. So that's why we call it 4 C's. C1, C2, C3, C4. Have a guess. Four C's for the first 1 century skills. 4 skills start with C. Have a guess.
Communication.
Of course, of course. Communication skills. This is actually the second one. Can you imagine? The second one. The first one, is critical thinking. And actually the reason for that, because our kids receive a huge number of information every time. So we have to evaluate every single information and make a right decision. So they said critical thinking. And the second one, communication skills. So the third one, what do you think, guys? This is
Comparison.
a good guess. This is actually what we are proud of in Scout, because we are use this C all the time in scouting activities. C. C, guys, means collaboration. Collaboration means work together. Work together. Can you imagine? This is now very important for future for our kids. So critical thinking, the first C, the second C, communication skills. The third C, collaboration, means work together as a team. And the final C is, it's very important for kids to be survived, because there is lots of things we have to prove yourself. So you have to think creatively. So the four C's, or C number 4 is creative thinking. So 4 C's is critical thinking, communication skills, collaboration, creative skills. All these skills are 4 C's model for future. So as you can see, the communication skills now is very important for now and for future, for kids and for everyone. Let's guys, let's try to test ourselves. There is some information based research. So research and studies tell us, research tells us about some amazing information. Let's share this information with you guys and see how we go. So the first question, research tells us your ability to communicate with others efficiently contributes to success in your life with the ratio of, is it 15% or 35% or 55, 85? This is what we make you success in your life or job or whatever. What do you think, guys?
I think at least 55.
Good guess. Good guess. Final guess, guys. Let's move to other things. It's actually unbelievable. That's, I think, Stanford University and Harvard Carnegie Institute present this research. Anyway, they found actually 58% of your success actually based on your ability to communicate with others. Can you imagine? Engineer, pilot, scout leader, cook, any person needs actually communication. To be honest, it's not just communication skills, it's what we call soft skills. Soft skills, but of course, communication skills is the first one among all these soft skills. So, good guess. Let's move to another question. Research as well tells us, as a result of poor communication at workplace, of course, workplace mistakes are estimated to, how much do you think, guys? It's amazing. Mistakes in workplace equivalent about how much? What do you think, guys? Difficult? Can you hear my voice, Abdulaziz?
Yes, Dr. It's clear. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So, this is the result. 70% of mistakes of workplace related to the poor communication. The last research, your gesture, by the way, we will focus in our gesture in this presentation in a while. The body language, what we call body language, can convey your message to others in proportion. How much do you think? 7%, 38, 55, or 100? I mean, body language, your hand, your gestures, smile, frown, surprise, using hands, stand, something like that. We will explain in details in minutes. What do you think, guys? The percentage of body language in our communication with others?
55%?
Good guess. Good guess, Mike. Thank you so much. Actually, it's 55. 55. This is what we call Moravian rule. We'll explain in a minute. So thank you so much, guys, for sharing odds and participation. This is what you call communication process. It's easy. I think everyone knows, or maybe heard or watch, or maybe understand deeply this model. Any communication cannot happen unless these four elements exist. So the first one is the sender, in this case me. Number two, the message, the idea in my head, in my brain. And the third, channel. We will discuss channel in depth. And finally, receiver, you who receive. So let's check your knowledge, if you don't mind, about and feedback. That's just make sure the receiver receive our message, understand the idea or the thought. Let's check, because just warming activity to move to some important ideas I'd like to share with you in this presentation. Okay, so this is sender, message, channel, receiver. Have a guess. Have a guess. The person who generates the message and conveys it to the receiver who's this person? Sender, message, channel, receiver. What do you think, guys?
Sender.
Of course. Thank you so much. Sender. Okay, next question. Okay, the information or feeling or idea or thoughts, etc., to be transmitted to the receiver is it sender or message, channel, receiver? What do you think, guys?
It's a message.
Absolutely. Next question. What about the media through which the message moves from sender to receiver? This is what we discuss in depth in minutes. What do you think, guys? The media through
Channel?
the message. Excellent. The final question is the person who the message was sent to. Easy. Is it the sender, message, channel, receiver? I think it's very clear, isn't it, guys?
Receiver.
Correct. Thank you so much for that. Receiver. Okay. Would like to just focus about very important element, which is the channel. Would like to focus a little bit, because the majority of misunderstanding between people actually have been because of this element. So the channel. This is what we call Mehrabian or Mehrabian rule, actually suggested by Mehrabian, American guy, 1970. Even there is a criticism of this rule and theory, but still actually still works until now, and make this actually a Mehrabian rule make some differences in training and teaching, learning, something like that. Mehrabian guys said, our message convey from the sender to receiver through three main channels. The first one, words, the spoken words like hi, how are you, everything is good, thank you, Mike, just word. And tone of voice like wow, aha, okay, nah. This is the tone of voice. Body language, like using gestures, hand, wave, shaking, smile, something like that. So we have 100%. So if you don't mind to distribute the 100% onto word, tone of voice, body language, the total should be 100. So let's try. This is, I can say the famous rule in communication skills all over the world. Even it's a little bit old. I think maybe 50 years, a half century, but still works. So what do you think, guys? What is the strongest one, the strongest channel, the strongest media? Is it the word? Through the way can I convey my message, or the tone of voice, speed, tone, rhythm, silence, all these are belong tone of voice, or gestures, face expression, standing posture. What do you think? Okay, guys, let's have a view.
Tone of voice.
Okay, excellent, good. Can you, if you don't mind, make the percentage? So with how with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the tone of voice and body language should be the total 100. I didn't, guys. That's why actually we make some exercise in a minute, focusing on one of them because it's the important one. Okay. Can you imagine the power of words? Maximum is 7%, just 7%. This is the maximum. This is, of course, regarding to Mehrabian or Albert Mehrabian. But the tone of voice, 38%. Big difference. Body language is 55%. So that's why actually we'd like to focus in this presentation today about the body language. Body language and tone of voice, it's called non-verbal communication. Just verbal communication is words. Yes, no, good morning, hi, how are you? This is verbal, just 7. But tone, body language, it's 93%. It's what we call non-verbal. So let's start with some examples. This is my friend. He's a teacher. And we try to make some photo to explain the body language, the mistakes in body language, or the things. So that's why, by the way, we call this the secret of body language, the secret of body language. So, guys, what do you think about this gesture and posture, standing? Is this a good thing, or we need to improve this gesture and posture? So just let me give you some hint to help you to think. So we have some mistakes in red circle, 1, 2, 3. So what do you think? What are these mistakes? Guys, what are these mistakes? 1, 2, 3 related to gestures. That's why we... Okay, good guess. Number one, guys, it's maybe the easiest one. What's wrong with it? Number one, I think it's, no, number one in the photo. Point to the mouth. What's wrong with it?
He's got a frown.
Correct, correct. And there is lots of study, by the way, academic study about smile and its effect in communication skills, etc. So the first mistake is that this guy is not smile. The number two, we call it closed. So research tells us if you would like to be a good communicator, you have to be open. So open your hand, open your face, open your mouth, open even jacket, etc. Now this is what we call sub scarf. It's a traditional clothing. It's closed. Okay. And the third one, guys, arm cross. Arm cross. Arm cross, we call it defensive position. Defensive position. So, would like if we, for instance, in training course, or maybe meet your friend in supermarket or street or anywhere, and we spoke together like this. This means defense position. Defense position. Psychological, they said the person tried to protect the body from danger and building what we call shield. Shield. So this is actually not good example for good communication or effective communication. Let's try to fix this one. Look. This is the original.
This is just to inform that all participants can participate through a voice communication. So some of them are writing their comments on the chat, and the trainer cannot read it. So you may participate through a voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, good idea. Yes, please, so you can participate with your voice. That would be a good idea. Okay, this is the original one. There is, there are three main mistakes. First of all, smile. Second, about clothes, the clothing. And what we call cross or army cross. This is what we call defensive position. Okay, let's try to fix this body language. First of all, one, we fix the smile, which is good. The scarf, It's closed now. Open. Open scarf actually send the message that for receiver that's I'm open or open-minded sometimes. Okay, so this is what we call palm up hand, palm up. The opposite, palm down, palm up, palm down. We explain in minutes. Okay. Let's explain some interesting thing about body language during sitting on chair or arm, something like that. Okay. What do you think? What's the mistake, guys, in this body language? The guy laying on the chair, fold the hand. Is it positive or negative? What do you think, guys?
I think it's negative position.
Excellent. Yes, it is. Research actually tells us that's a negative position. Why? Why? Why do you think? Why it's negative? I mean, this body language, or this guy actually, or this guy's body language send a message to the receiver. What sort of message are sending? What do you think?
I think the message says that keep me and stay away.
Excellent, excellent. That's good. So it's sort of emotional, what we call coldness, emotional coldness. There is not, you know, as you explained before, let me alone. I'm not your friend. So that's why actually in the presentation skills, we explain to the new trainer, new presenter, an important rule. We explain to them that your body speaks before your tongue. Your body speaks before your tongue. This is what we call, guys, the first impression. The first impression. So there's the first impression of your body, your smile, your clothing, your sort of, actually, it's very important. Some research shows that the receiver judge you, evaluate you within the first 7 seconds. Can you imagine? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and the receiver judge you. So sometimes in TOT training program for trainers, we spend 1 day, can you imagine, guys? 1 day just to train the new trainers how to stand carefully, use your hand, use your smile, your voice, how to prepare yourself for the first 7 seconds. The first impression is called the whole effect. We explain at the end of this presentation. Thank you so much, guys. So first of all, the hand fold out, and this is smile, missing, close. Okay, and this is cross legs as well. Cross legs means, as we said, arm cross. It's defensive. So this is emotional coldness. By the way, in Arabic context, it's rude to make your shoes face the receiver. This different culture, of course, you know, but this is the Arabian context. I think Asian context. Okay. So let's try to fix this situation. Okay, it's fixed now. Done. Look. From frown to smile. From closed scarf to open. Now lean back. Now lean forward, which is positive. Okay, this is what we call palm up hand. Okay, so this is an interesting study, guys. I'd like to share with you. There are three main gesture for hand. First of all, this one, this is what we call palm up. And the second one, the opposite, palm down. And this is finger pointing, as you all know. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What do you think? What is the most effective for to be used in communication with others? What do you think, guys? So, palm up, palm down, finger. Let's hear from you guys, if you don't mind. Guys, where are you?
I think the palm up would be the most effective.
Excellent. This one, Mike. Excellent,
Yes.
Mike. Thank you. Good. Okay. If I'd like to ask you about the percent of effectiveness, what do you say? There is actually an interesting study has been conducted by some researchers. They bring some audience, and they actually organize 3 short presentations. 3 short presentations for the same audience. Okay, the first one, the researcher asked the presenter to give his presentation normally, but using palm up. Like presentation skills are very important, and they consist of body language, and body language 55%. As you know, guys, blah 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 blah. Look, just palm up. Okay, this is the first presentation. Researcher, they ask the audience, stay in the same place, and they ask another presenter, the presenter number 2. And the presenter number 2 gave a presentation, normal presentation about normal topic, but using palm down all time. Like scouting is very important for our kids. Scouting should be blah 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 blah. There is lots of scout activities all over the world. We'd like to blah blah blah. Okay. The researcher asked the third presenter to come and give his presentations, but this time using just the finger. The presentation was normal, but the body language a little bit different. So let's say, for example, the presentation skills are very important. So guys, you have to think carefully about your body language. There is introduction, and there is a body, and there is conclusion, and the presentation, blah, 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 blah. So the researcher present the results. The result was actually a surprise. What do you think? Before I show the results, what do you think? What is the most effective? Mike maybe actually said before, palm up. We don't know. We have to check. Palm down, point by finger. Okay, so let's give some percentage about the effectiveness of this gesture. What do you think, guys? How much the percentage of the effectiveness of using this palm? 10, 20, 30, 100%? What about this one? What about this one? I think it's very important for us in Scout presentation, and you know, we're meeting people, scouts, kids, other friendly. So in training courses, in training classes, it's very important. Okay. Any answer before I show you the results? Okay, guys. Palm up, 84%. Palm up, 84%. So what does mean? That the audience positively affected by presentation using with the presenter using palm up. The second presenter using palm down, look, drop from 48 to 52. The disaster is, look, everything is normal. Everything is normal, but just the what we call in academic the variable is the gesture. So pointing 28. Big difference, guys. Be careful. Like this or like this. Be careful, guys. This or this. This.
Listen is interesting about me. I enjoy coming about that.
Okay, so this study actually shows us that we have to use our body language carefully, using palm up, and avoid pointing, because maybe one of them asked the full question: why? What's wrong? What's wrong with it? Okay, that's a good question. Look, guys, in psychology, actually, we have what we call, this is some research actually shows this, two type of brain. The first one, what we call conscious, and the second, subconscious, or sometimes called unconscious. Conscious means that I'm understanding everything. I have the right to evaluate your idea and accept or reject. But the subconscious is, I just receive your idea subconsciously, even positive or negative. Kids, by the way, guys, our kids at home, school, in scouts, affected by body language subconsciously. So that's why actually in the famous speech, try to educate with your behavior, not with your tongue or the speech. Because when you try to teach, when you using your behavior, that means you go to or overcome what we call conscious to subconscious. And whatever actually receive and stay with subconscious, that consists our behavior and manner with ours. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. There is a book, it's called 100 Easy Ways to Say No. Subconsciously, guys, we hate the word no. So sometimes in our conversation, if I ask you something, no, let's say, what's wrong with it? But subconsciously, we make acquisition and goes the word no to the subconscious mind and make, unfortunately, bad relationship. So there is lots of words can we use instead of no, like sorry, unfortunately, something like that. But no, it's a harmful word. Okay, guys, in the rest of time, I would like to share you about some interesting ideas and thought, what we call barriers to effective communication. That means why communication between us sometimes fail? Why some conflict between people are happening? Okay, so this is what we call barriers to effective communications. There are lots of barriers. I've select some of them just because the short time. The first one, what we call language barriers. Language barriers. I think it's easy. Language barriers arise when people are not able to understand the language used in communication. So if I say, for instance, hello, maybe everyone can understand what I'm saying. But if say, for instance, if I say, konnichiwa, just Japanese people can understand me. So this is what we call language barriers. Let's take some funny puzzle. Guys, if I say, I saw bats, I saw bats. What do you understand? What do you think? Have you got my idea? Have you received my idea in my head? So in my head, a message, it's I saw my bats. Have you received it? Have you understand my my message? It's not easy, actually. This is a famous example. So if you don't mind, I'd like to, Abdulaziz, if there is any participation, I'm happy to hear their voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. It's already open for them to participate through voice immediately.
Ah, excellent, excellent. Because some of guys may be using writing and chatting, something like that. Because I'm not familiar with Zoom program. That's why. Okay, guys, I saw bats. Who can understand my message? What I'm trying to say? I saw bats.
Corona.
There is actually four options for understanding. 4 meanings. Can you imagine? Okay. So, what does it mean, Dr. Hamad? So, okay. What does it mean, bats? Do you know bats? Bats, flying animal. Okay. And sometimes bats, what do you think about bats? The meaning of bat. The bat is piece of wood used in baseball. Okay. So SAW means, so using a hand saw to cut something. This is saw. This is saw. And so it's the past of see. I see, I saw yesterday. So in this case, guys, look, this is actually a good example for language barriers between people. I saw bats. There are 4 possible meanings. 4 possible meanings. Let's try to find the 4. First of all, I saw bats. So I used hand saw to cut. To cut what? Bats. What are the bats? As I explained before, the bats, it's a piece of wood. The player use it in baseball to move the ball, as you know. Okay, so this is the first meaning. I saw the bats. The second meanings, maybe, or the second maybe another receiver understand another meaning. That's why we call it language barrier. So maybe one audience or receiver. I saw. I watched it. The past. I watched some bats in the playground or in the match or whatever on the shop. So the first of all, I saw bats. I've cut the bats. This is the first meaning. The second meaning, guys, I saw bats in the sports shop, for instance. The third meaning that we call language barrier, I saw pets, but not the pet, the piece of wood, but the flying animals. It's called mammals, by the way. Okay. The fourth meaning, I saw, watched bats. Okay. So it's amazing. It's really amazing because it's a big problem, these barriers. So I saw bats. There's 4 possible meaning. Cut piece of wood. Other meaning. I watched the bat, the piece of wood in the sports shop or sports store, something like that. Number 3, I cut the flying animal. I saw bats. Number 4, I saw bats. I watched some of flying animal. Look, it's complicated. It's confused, isn't it? Because when we speak to other during normal conversation or sometimes in classroom, especially in training, sometimes actually we use different words or different expression or sentences that make confusion. Okay. What do you think, guys? Can one of you, if you don't mind, explain this this drawing? This is an example. This is a good example, actually, for misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is sort of barriers or communication barriers, especially in language barriers. So, anybody can share us and explain what does he understand?
We can say that if you look at something from one point of view, it
Excellent.
would be different if you look at it from another point of view.
Excellent, Mike. Thank you so much. Different point of view. Because the first one is in the water, actually is drawing. So he needs help. He needs help. But instead of saying help, help, he used another word or exhibition. He said, it's deep. It's deep means help, help. The stand guy understand it's just, you know, normal information. You're just telling him that's deep. And he said, no, I don't think so. No, it's not. So this is a sort of language barriers. By the way, in English, they used what we call idioms. Idioms. Idioms, it's sort of expression, usually uses in special cases, but sometimes has hidden meaning, something like that. Let's, for instance, when I say, okay, Dr. Muhammad, please keep in touch. Keep in touch. Okay. We know the meaning of keep. In, okay. Touch. So keep in touch. This is an idiom. Idiom means please stay with calling me. There is an interesting idiom. I'm not sure Mike still used in America. We used it in Australia. They used to say couch potatoes. Couch potato. Do you use this one?
Yep. I'm not an actual potato, but I am sitting on the couch and not moving like a
Excellent.
potato.
Thank you so much. That's it. Thank you so much, Mike, for it's I mean, you know, I lay down on the couch and lazy, something like that. Thank you so much for help. Excellent. Okay, guys. Okay, this is a good and famous example for misunderstanding between guys, between people around the world. What do you think this means? There is big difference among people, among countries, about the meaning, how explain this. This is just an example, by the way, not just one. This is just an example. I try to select some easy gesture to share you the idea. That's it. So, guys, what this gesture mean?
Excellent.
Perfect. Excellent. Easy. Okay. Another meaning. Thank you so much, Amr Hamdi. It's a good example, actually. It's sometimes used to explain the language barriers. And this is language because we said, we explained before, it's body language. It's not spoken language, but still language because it's body language. So the Amr Hamdi said that means good. Okay, guys, another meaning.
3 things only.
Three things. Good, using fingers. Excellent. When I say, okay, Dr. Hamad, that means, okay. I'd like to share you some different meanings. For instance, in different countries. So I try to make research to find the meaning in different countries. So, for instance, in America and the majority of countries around the world, this gesture means, okay, it's perfect, acceptable, good, well done, something like that. In Japan means money. For instance, if I say, okay, I'd like to go to this company because I'd like to make more money. Okay. So in country like France, I found them use this gesture to mean zero. For instance, okay, so how many participants in your presentation, or how many, scout leader will come to this course? Means nobody, zero. This is in France. In some countries like German and Brazil, I found this posture, or gesture, sorry, it's impolite gesture, impolite, so it's rude.
That's true.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In which country?
Brazil.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah.
So look, that's why we have to be very careful when we communicate with others during scout meeting or any sort of meeting. Okay, so in Arabic context, by the way, we use, Dr. Hamad, how do you use this in Arabic context?
I will kill you after school.
It's in a way a joke. So yeah, it's sort of, okay, so be careful. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna hit you. Okay, so this is actually a good example. How can the one word, the same word, the same language, the same gesture has many meaning or different meanings among people all over the world. Okay, so now this is guys, what we are talking about the communication barriers. So this is the first one. We talk about the language barriers. The second barriers, actually, it's what we call physical barriers. This is actually when we make conversation in not in suitable environment, in suitable place. And this is, by the way, we face this problem by the way, guys, in training. When the training course take place in unsuitable location, very hot, very cold, humidity, bad lighting, something like that. And the research actually tells us there is a strong correlation between environment or physical environment and communication skills, or receive the communication. And many actually researchers and universities, by the way, and centers of research, try to make what we call standards for physical environment to improve the communication skill during learning, training, meeting, conferences, seminars, any sort of meeting among people. So let's just share you with some information about the standards, what I've got in my research and my studies, and I present some of them in some conferences. For instance, this is actually studied belong the training courses. And of course, we can use this in classroom, meeting, seminar, anyway. The temperature. The researcher found the ideal temperature should be between 20 degrees centigrade and 25 degrees centigrade. This is what we call ideal temperature for the location to support the communication between people. As I said before, especially in training, learning, seminar, different meeting, and so on. Humidity. What we call relative humidity should be, this is what we, international standards, between 35 to 65%. This is the most suitable humid for the place, what we call, what we make our conversation or training or learning, something like that. There is a lightning. The natural lighting, natural lighting mean the direct lighting from the sun should be no more than 34 kelvin. Of course, this is some physical units, but it's good to know. Artificial lighting, we use what we call phot candles. Usually, we use some devices to measure this. And sometimes we use some program using a mobile phone, because the machine now it's in our phone. We can use it to measure the lightning and the noise level, the vibration, something like that. And we've got here noise level. It's big barrier to communication. The ideal level not exceed, it's NC 30. It's as I said before, it's physics unit. It's noise criteria. NC means noise criteria no more 30. We used to sometimes use some application to measure the noise level in training courses or any planning or meeting, conference, seminar, something like that. Reverberation time. Let's say echo. And the echo should be between 0.6 to 1.2. This range is acceptable, is ideal for communication. Can you imagine the color can affect the communication? Smell can affect communication positively and negatively. For instance, the research tells us, we found in the research study that walls in meeting, seminar, training, learning, whatever, it's suggested to be light, what we call light natural green, light natural green, or light blue. This is the most suitable for eyes during the meeting. We have to avoid dark colors, just light colors. Especially, this is actually research as natural green and blue. What about the smell? There is a relationship between smell and good communication, effective communication. Can you imagine? So, for instance, using jasmine, flowers, mint. Do you know mint? The mint, it's sort of herb in Arabic context. We use it in making a drink. Some people prefer to add mint in the tea. So the mint has been found that increase the effectiveness of communication. Flowers, rose as well. Some. What about the furniture? Furniture as well can make big difference, can hinder the effectiveness of communication, or can support the effectiveness or increase the effectiveness of communication. So there is some, standards around the world, but maybe the famous one, it's the European standard for furniture. They found that the table, when you use in meeting, training courses, learning, I'm talking about for adults. Of course, it's, there's some different subtle differences about the kids, but I'm talking about the adults. It's the suitable highest is 82 centimeters. 82 centimeters. This can support, this can increase the effectiveness of communication. Okay. Lots of standard actually can hinder or increase, decrease or increase the effectiveness of communication during meeting, training, learning, conversation, negotiation, and so on. Okay. By the way, there is lots of standard in training environments. I've been actually, I established a Twitter account just for trainers, male and female, and trained designer and academic presenter. Some hints and some thought, some rules, some models about training and the presentation skills, something like that. So if you are interested to get lots of information and thoughts about standards or skills, or maybe common mistakes for trainer and presenter, you can find in my comment. Anyway. Okay, so we are now talking about the barriers. So The first one, language barriers. Language barriers. Second, physical barriers. The third one, maybe this is the famous one, culture barriers. Culture barriers. Different people around the world have specific culture, including clothing, habits, custom, food, etc. So maybe this the important or maybe the famous one, the different culture among people in the world regarding the greeting. So as you know, some people using, when you greet another, using shaking hand. Some of them just put hand on the chest. Some of them like bow. Some of them just wave. Okay, so this in this picture, so the right one, the right man, he trying to greet his friend by bowing. And the left one, actually, he's surprised. What's wrong? He has to shake my hand. This is what we call actually cultural barriers. And I remember when I did the Boy Scouts, we attend some jamboree around the world. We face lots of cultural barriers, but we learned. But fortunately, in Scout there is some general rules about greeting, using something like, so it's, you know, it helps us a lot. Okay, guys, now we've got just a couple of minutes to finish this presentation. Let's complete talking about the barriers. Why sometimes we don't understand each other? Why sometimes conflict happens between communicators? Why sometimes can't, you know, evaluate or judge or make decision? What's wrong? Is it true that our brain cheating us? Our brain cheating us, is it true? Actually, there is what we call in psychology, guys, cognitive bias. Cognitive biases. Cognitive bias means that our brain made a mistake. Say it again. Our brain made a mistake when our brain tried to judge others. Others mean idea, thought, information, feeling, something like that. This is what we call bias or cognitive biases. There are lots of cognitive biases has been presented by researchers, but let's just choose one or two of them related to the communication. Okay, and finish our presentation. So we'll now try to answer this question. Are our brains cheating us? There is actually a rule among the psychologists. They said, or they found, our brains like to take shortcuts. Our brain like to take shortcuts. Really? Yes. Yes. That's what the research actually found. Why? Why our brain like to take shortcuts? Simply because thinking consume lots of energy. So our brain like take shorts because that takes less mental effort. There is actually a famous book released, I think, 2012. It's called The Slow Thinking and I'm not sure, to be honest. I forget the anyway. The author is Daniel. He actually divided our brains into two types of brain. The one part is the first one. Try to fix any problem he faced fastly, based on the experience, of course. The other type of brain is slow. This is actually, we use it in new or complicated issues, complicated question, complicated problem. But unfortunately, this brain doesn't work every day because, as said before, it consumes lots of energy and effort. Okay, this may be, as you can see in the red line, our brain tries to avoid the maze, avoid to spend long time or effort. So try to use simple and the safe choice. So let's share you about two cognitive biases famous among people. First of all, have a look, please, guys, to this photo. There is two tables, two office. The guy on the right sitting, and he has unpleasant truths. Unpleasant truths, but still truth. The left one has comforting lies. Sorry about that. It's not truth. It's lies, but it's comfortable, pleasant. Okay, this is actually a caricature. Shows us that lots of people prefer the comforting. It doesn't matter, truth or lies. Just they are looking about the comforting. So the bias here, it's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. What does this mean? Confirmation bias, guys, means simply that in communication with others, we try to find the information that confirm our thoughts. In the confirmation training courses or maybe seminar or conferences, whatever, we are trying to find or search the facts or information or data that confirm our belief, our value. And this is bias, guys. That means we don't try to find another side. Just I'm trying to hear what I want to hear. Just I'd like to find what any information to confirm or support my values and beliefs. Okay, what about the other information? Oh, it doesn't matter. So sometimes, okay, yes, this is, I like this. This is not fair. This is a big bias in communication. So when we'd like to just looking for the information, what we like to hear, support our ideas and value. So this is what we, in psychology called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Okay. Let's move, guys, to another cognitive bias. When you need to go to the doctor, make some treatment. So there are two experts. Personally, guys, what do you prefer? Which one among them can you trust? Trust number 1 or 2? We are talking about medication.
Number 2.
Excellent. Why?
Appearance.
Good. Do you think the attire, the clothing, we call it attire, the medical attire, can convince you to accept or affect you to accept or maybe to make you trust? The answer, yes. The answer, yes. Research actually has many studies has conducted around the world, 2005, 2013, 2000, I think 16. They found, or actually conducting about in different places, and they asked the question, the following question: what among, I mean, they conduct the study actually in hospitals and patients, and there are some doctors. Some of them wear the official suits, and some of them the white gown, and some of them just wearing the normal what we see in the hospital, I think green or something like, or blue, and some of them casual. And they found the results show that people trust the white gown. By the way, guys, number 1 and number 2 are the same one. Number 1 and 2 is one person, but he is a doctor. But this is a doctor when he at his clinic, and this is maybe out of clinic. Okay, so the appearance, the clothing, the attire can affect us to choose positively or negatively. This is what we call, guys, halo effect. Halo effect. Halo effect means one trait, one feature, one trait or one feature in the communicator, in the others, can form our, evaluation or judgment. We can actually evaluate every single data of information. No, this is the bias. This is the bias. The bias because we just use one piece or little piece of information to make our judgment. There is actually lots of studies and research about halo effect. One of them, for instance, they make a fun experiment. Make some people to make a judgment for some employees. And there is two actors acting as new employees. When they meet people, the first one introduce himself like positive thing. I'm creative. Working hard. I like my job. However, sometimes lazy. Sometimes I'm coming late. And the other one, he said the same thing, but in the opposite. They start, my name is blah, 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 blah. I'm lazy, sometimes coming too late. However, I'm creating, like my job. And guess what? The people who submit to the test, of course, choose the number one, because what we call, this is the first impression. So the first impression is maybe another perspective for halo effect. Halo effect means to make judgments using just little piece of information instead of use the whole information. So this is cognitive biases. During communication with others, just we focus on some and make our judgment. And of course, this is not correct. This is leads to misunderstanding. Okay, this is guys. We comes to the end of this short presentation about effective communications and Scout and everywhere. We spoke about the conversation, why it's important. And if you remember, we said because it's one of the 4 C's. 4 C's means the main skills of people. It's called the 21st century skills. And 4 C's, we said critical thinking, communication skills, collaboration, and creative thinking. And we talk about the process, the sender and message, channel, receiver, and feedback. And we talk about the barriers of communication. We talk about the language, talk about the body language. What does this mean among people all over the world? And we talk about the physical barriers, and we talk about the culture barriers. And we focus a little bit about body language, because body language actually represent 55% of communication with others. However, the words just 7%, and the voice, tone, rhythm, 83. And we finish our presentation about what you call cognitive biases. We just choose two. Just an example. That's explain why sometimes we don't understand each other, why sometimes in training, negotiation, learning, or normal conversation make sometimes conflict because there is what we call cognitive biases. We just mentioned two. The first of all, confirmation biases, which just research in our conversation or communication about the information that support our ideas and values. And the other cognitive biases, it's halo effect. Halo effect, which means that we use little bit of information and data, not all information, just a little bit. Usually the first or the second formation to make a judgment or whole a judgment of the ideas or thought or even the sender, another guys. So that's actually comes us to the to complete our presentation. Hopefully you enjoy this presentation. I know some of you maybe he is a specialist in humanity or studies or maybe communication or maybe I think trainer or professional trainer, but actually I accept this invitation from Dr. Hamad just to what we call in Arabic renew our meeting and share your knowledge and keep you going with you in our meeting. So hopefully I complete this presentation well. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for participation. Thank you for listening. Special thank for Dr. Hamad and special thank for Ustad Abdulaziz for everything. Now I think we have 5 minutes or something like that. Let's ask Ustad Abdulaziz to continue this presentation. Microphone معك عبد العزيز.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf. Actually, it was a fantastic session. I hope that everyone has learned something new or at least updated some information. Actually, during this meeting, we had the pleasure of the participation of Mr. Amr Hamdi, the director for Arab regions, Arab Scout regions, and Mr. Raul, the director of Inter-American Scout regions. I'd like to welcome everybody for this course, and thank you for your attendance. And if you have any questions for Dr. Yusuf, I believe some participants had some questions. If you're ready, you can say your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
And I don't have a question, but I have a comment. First, I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf, for the great presentation. I've attended and I've seen and I worked in training for a long time, and I really admire your presentation. It covers important aspects of communication, not the traditional communication skills course. Maybe one of the points that I would like to take out as a conclusion, which is a bit dangerous in work and causes a lot of, as you say, miscommunication. If you combine two of the important information you said about the law of completion and the bias of comfort, then this could lead to a disaster. If people are communicating and you don't listen, you just continue from your mind, and then you make the conclusion that makes you comfortable and confirm your thoughts. I think this is something that we have to warn people not to fall into this complex situation, because it's a real dangerous situation. Again, thank you very much. This has been very useful. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you for the Saudi Scouts for hosting this session. Thank you, Dr. Hamad. Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz, for inviting us.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Yeah. For me, this Yemi from Nigeria. I want to appreciate the moderator and also the presenter for very robust presentation. And one thing I'm taking away here is a situation where a lot of us, our body language is saying something while we are, our mouth is saying a different thing. And at the end of the day, the people that you are trying to communicate to, they are confused whether to follow your body language or to follow what you are saying. And most of the time, this is the beginning of conflict in our day-to-day activities. But for me, I think one thing I'm taking away is whenever we are communicating, we should watch our body language and what we're saying. Are they saying the same thing? If they are saying the same thing, then you must have communicated, right? But if they are not saying the same thing, then you really need to check it. Thank you for the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Excellent.
Something,
Thank you very
please.
much. Go ahead.
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank you for this excellent presentation. It's very, very helpful for me and very nice presenting from you, doctor. I have a question here. If I have a sense or a feeling of that somebody whom I'm speaking to misunderstands, something misunderstanding happens to me between us, how can I manage? Maybe for any barriers that you mentioned, maybe for any reason. So how can I manage?
Excellent. Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you.
It's a good question. First of all, we have to clarify which sort of barriers. It's physical, it's language, it's culture. Usually, maybe the main actually barrier is language. So easy. I suggest when there is misunderstanding to clarify the meaning. And this is actually happening with us many times when we attend meeting, conferences, scout camp. That we used to use different words, different sentences, different expression. So I think politely we ask, sorry, if you don't mind to, what do you mean about blah, 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 blah? Excuse me, I'm not quite sure about what do you mean in this word. Excuse me, could you please elaborate this idea a little bit because I'm confused, something like that. And this is happening and acceptable all the world. And it's not wrong. So thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
That's my pleasure.
Dr. Yusuf, thank you so much for having me on the training today, and you did a wonderful job. I think the biggest thing that I take away with talking about the fact that so much of the meaning is conveyed with the nonverbal just makes me realize in light of the coronavirus how fortunate we are today with technology having the capabilities to do this over Zoom and be able to see facial expressions, to see hand gestures, and you know, have those additional ways of being able to at least have the next best thing, even if we're not able to see each other in person.
Thank you so much, Mike, for attending. Thanks for comment.
All right. I believe we go ahead. Hello.
Well, I would like to thank you, for the South Scout Association for the opportunity to have this very agreeable morning. In Brazil, it's morning. So thank you very much to share with us the knowledge. We are very happy to be here. So would also like to thank for Mr. Youssef for the presentation, for the Arabic Scouts Association for the invitation, and the person of Ahmad. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rafiq. Nice to meet you.
Thank you everybody for your attendance. We've reached to the end of this session. We've been enjoyed it, and we hope that we have another one soon with Dr. Hamad and the other Scout leaders. For your, if you want to get your certificate for participation, go to the chat. We have put the link. You register all the information to issue the certificate for today's program. Thank you for attendance, and stay safe, stay home.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Bye now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
See you guys.
Thank you, Yusuf.
الله يعطيك العافيه دكتور، ما قصرت.
الله يعافيك.
شاكر لك ودكتور حمد ودكتور يوسف، كلكم ما قصرت.
الله يكرمك، ما قصرت، الله يحفظك، يعني ادرت جزاك الله خير الجلسه باحترافيه. نستودعكم نراكم على خير ان شاء الله. في امان الله، مع السلامه.
موفقين مع
جميعا ان شاء الله. مع السلامه.
السلامه.
في امان الله.
شكرا.